Hi folks, my name is Louis Martin and I am the course leader for the Criminal Justice with Offender Management degree, which is run by Staffordshire University. It's one of a very few degrees in the country which is specifically tailored for people who are interested in working in the criminal justice system with offenders, young offenders, and people who've been processed or are being processed through the criminal justice system. So if you're interested in working in the criminal justice system or just learning about what it does, then this would probably be the ideal course for you. What we offer at Staffordshire then is a unique package of teaching and learning, which is delivered not only by academic staff, but also by the professionals in industry, such as prison officers, deputy governors, and probation officers, people who actually work in the criminal justice system. The course itself grew out of an offender management course which was delivered by Staffordshire University from 2011 to 2015 to prison officers. But now this course is available for all students, anybody that wants to take a course of study in this subject. So what will you learn and what do you want to know about? Well, first of all, it's a very practical course. So there are lots of field trips. We believe at Staffordshire that we want to prepare you for the world of work and employability, and there's no better way than actually going to the places of work. So in level 4, which is the first year, we start off in Welcome Week with a trip to HMP Drake Hall, which is a closed female prison. It's a women's prison, not far from the university. It's about 25 minutes drive from Stoke campus. And one of our teaching fellows, one of the civic fellows, is a prison officer who has been awarded a civic fellowship, Tim Bailey. He's a prison officer at Drake Hall and he's on the teaching team, and he will be delivering teaching on the offender management module. So we go there and Tim gives the students a guided tour around the prison. You get to speak to the women prisoners. They deliver talks about what it's like to be in prison and rehabilitation. So that's how we start off the course. Later on in that year, there's a field trip to HMP Dovegate, which is a Cat B high security prison, again about 35 minutes away from the university. And we've got our partners there in the training centre and in the prison who will provide a tour around the prison, and you get to visit the therapeutic unit, which is one of a few specialised units. That's like a prison within a prison, where people are engaging in very intensive therapy to address their reoffending behaviour. And throughout the course, there are opportunities to do placements, voluntary work, research within the prison estate. We also have probation officers coming in to speak to us about the probation service, both within the prison estate and out in the community. So when we think about offenders, we think about a journey. Obviously, the first point of call is the police. They are the sort of first agency that deal with offending behaviour, breaking the criminal law. So the police, we have an excellent suite of policing degrees at Staffordshire. So if you're interested in the policing aspect, then I suggest you go and have a look at the several degrees that you can enrol in with a focus primarily on policing. So you will learn about what the police do, but you learn about what the police do as part of the journey within the criminal justice system. So the police are the first port of call: investigation, arrest, process, and then on to the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, who are the solicitors employed by the state to prosecute offences on behalf of the state. So people who would then go to court. So you'll learn about the Magistrates' Courts and Tribunal Service, the court system, Magistrates and Crown Court, Criminal Court of Appeal. And then obviously the sentencing of a defendant who then becomes an offender. So you will learn about miscarriages of justice. You will learn about the hierarchy of the courts, and you do learn about the journey that a suspect would make who is arrested and investigated by the police, may be charged, appearing at magistrates or court or Crown Court, and what happens in that journey. Then we look at post-sentence. Obviously the courts will punish a person and they'll receive a sanction. This may be a fine, some community punishment work, which is served in the community, supervised by the probation service. And then ultimately you've got the ultimate sanction, which is imprisonment, incarceration. So a lot of the subject material that you'll study will be linked to incarceration and how people are treated when they are sentenced to imprisonment. So you've got the young offenders institutions, you've got the women's estate, and then you've got the adult male estate. So they make up the sort of Her Majesty's prisons. So you'll learn a lot about that journey. What happens when a person goes to prison, all about the prison regimes, different types of prisons, different types of prison rules and instructions, because obviously when a person goes to prison, they're very heavily regulated, their behaviour is regulated. We talk about what interventions occur within the prison estate to enable a person to address their behaviour. Ideally, tackle some of their reoffending type behaviours, maybe alcohol and drugs, anger management. So there are courses that are run by the prisons where people can go on various courses to try and address their behaviour. You learn about that. You'll also learn about the complaints procedures. What happens when somebody wants to make a complaint in prison? Equality, sort of discrimination, in an incident reporting of that nature. We also look at some of the other agencies in the criminal justice system that you might not know about, such as the Prison and Probation Ombudsman, who deal with serious complaints made by prisoners and people on probation. Also, you'll consider the issues around research in prison. People want to know how to address reoffending, so lots of research is done within the prison with both prison staff and residents. So you'll have the opportunity to conduct, if you want to conduct research in prisons. At the moment, I have two of my students who are now in level 4 are going to be conducting research in local prisons. So one of my students is working in HMP Stafford, which is a Category C sex offenders prison. And she's examining complaints that have been made in the prison and also the discriminatory incident form reporting process. One of my other students is just about to start carrying out research for the Deputy Governor in HMP Drake Hall. She's also another level 4 student. So the opportunity, if you want to, this might not be everybody's cup of tea straight away to go into a prison and start researching. But if you'd like to do that, then you can go into one of the prisons that we have a partnership with and work for the Governor on various projects. With that said then, we are also keen on the rehabilitation side of things. And one of our partners who's got a rehabilitation centre about 15 minutes away from the university, he offers a very detailed day of teaching and learning at the rehabilitation centre. So that's also, he's a guest speaker that will come in and speak to you in Welcome Week. And in level 5, there'll be a trip to the rehabilitation centre to see the work that's being undertaken there. If we look at the academic side of things then, this book here then, and this will be for this forthcoming year, you need to learn about criminal law. Criminal law then is fundamental, I think, to having a good working knowledge of the criminal justice system. This book here then, this is Nicola Monaghan's criminal law book, and this goes through the various laws that we have in England and Wales. Bear in mind this course is really about England and Wales. So we talk about murder, manslaughters, rapes, sexual offences, robbery, burglary, drugs offences, firearms, offensive weapons. These sorts of offences then form the sort of bedrock of the material that you'll be dealing with through the person's journey. Different offences attract different sentences, so you'll need to know about the different types of offences that people commit. If you're going to work in the criminal justice system, it's based on people who break criminal law. That's the bottom line. So you need to know the different types of offences. If you're working with offenders, they will obviously ask you questions about what's going to happen in relation to their offences. So you probably need to know the difference between a sort of serious wounding and a minor assault, so you'd be able to offer advice and speak to people. So criminal law, you learn that in the first year, and you learn, like I say, the whole cross spectrum of different laws, ranging from murder across to shoplifting, drug offences and psychoactive substances which are prevalent within the prison estates. You also, which is, I think this is pretty unique to universities in England and Wales, you will also study prison law. Obviously, you won't study it to the same extent as a solicitor, but you'll be given a very effective working knowledge of prison law, prison instructions and prison orders. Again, for employability, this is pretty unique. You'll have an effective working knowledge of the more common breaches of instructions and orders within prison. You'll learn about prison adjudications. That's the process of investigation and maybe punishment that's run internally within a prison, and the different sanctions available, and the different tribunals of fact. It may be a deputy governor or governor, or it may be a district judge or judge that sits on the adjudication to listen to the breaches, which are like offences committed whilst in prison. So again, that's a unique insight.